So, this is the gearbox of the JG AK47. This is a version with the side folding skeleton stock. But it should be the same internally as any of the other JG. I had a hell of a time getting all the screws out. When I was first making this video, there were actually star wrenches that were holding the gearbox down. So, most of them were loose. Surprisingly, because it's a JG, I don't know why they just can't tighten the screws down, but a lot of them were loose, so I got them out. But this front one right here gave me a lot of problems. So I eventually got it out and got the top plate off, and now we're going to take the gearbox out and look inside. But first, the motor here. I'm pretty sure it's a JG standard stock motor. It's not a Golden Eagle or high torque or anything. It's just a standard motor. It's not a half moon shape, but I'm pretty sure you can pull it off. Seems to be, it's fired a couple, I mean it hasn't fired a lot of rounds, but it's fired a few. There's no damage on the pinion gear at all yet. Well, let's get the actual gearbox itself open and see. It is indeed a plastic bushing gun. I hate that sound. These JGs really are put together kind of finicky. You do have to be careful when you're taking the gearbox out. And that stupid plastic piece is still in there, that's why I didn't go anywhere. This plastic piece really does not do anything but give you problems. I never even put them back on the guns. Alright. Looks like our gears got fucked up a little bit. Let's check that out. Well, that was rough as shit. Alright, well, let's look at the gearbox. First thing, usually in JGs they come with a metal spring guide. This one is indeed plastic. It's got a little shim at the back here. Nothing special, nothing fancy. I'd be careful with this because I've had the one on my AUG break a tab pretty easily, so be careful with that. The last JG I looked into, the spring was actually attached to the piston. This one looks like it is the same deal. Let's see. Yeah. The actual spring is attached to the piston, so you're either going to have to redo the piston or the spring or something, but you know, it's a stock piston. You could call that porting, I guess, I don't know. The teeth seem to be fine. There's no major signs of wear and tear. A little bit on the front here. That might have been from the exploding of the gearbox, though. It's got a ported cylinder head. Looks like our anti-reversal latch fell out. Let's see. Standard anti-reversal latch. Put that aside. And we also got some JG branded gears. Of course, over-greased. Standard bevel gear. These are probably XYZ gears, but they just have JG markings. Of course, very over-greased with this. It almost looks like they're rusted, but they're not. That's just the grease, so we'll definitely have to clean those up. Surprisingly, there's shims in here, and it actually looks like it has a shimming job on it. Wow, let's check this gear. I've never seen a JG. Usually, if they do shim it, they just put one shim on each side just so they're there, but I can see this one has two shims. And we'll have to see what's underneath everything else. Another surprising fact is the trigger actually stayed in place. Usually that's the first thing to go. That, you know, falls out and gets really messed up. Let's take out this upper assembly and check the air seal and upper components. Very big port right here. Pretty lubed up in there, so we don't have to worry about that. Basically, it's a whole standard upper gearbox. There's no O-ring inside. Air nozzle. Let's check the air seal right now on this. So once you get past the ports, it slides right through. That's common in JGs. Their air seal is not the best, but it's still pretty decent, I would say. Bevel gear. Let's check. Standard tappet plate. Another JG sector gear, the shim on the top. Also have a shim on the bottom, as you can see. And so two shims for that gear. There's also two shims for the bevel, or one shim for the bevel gear. Actually, wait a minute, I might as well. Yep, one shim for the bevel gear. And then for the spur gear, there's actually two 1mm shims on the top. Lift it up. And there's none on the bottom. So yeah, each shim, excluding the bevel gear, got two shims. Not shimmed very well, of course. We'll try to make do. I might break out some extra shims. Let's see what else here. Other than the grease job, what can you say? Standard JG gearbox, I would say. You know, you got a decent seal. You know, it's basically below average, I would say. This grease job, though, I mean, just look at my hands. They're covered in grease. It's just everywhere on these guns. We'll clean it up. But yeah, overall, you know, it's what you would expect for what I think he paid $150 for this gun. And I mean, it shoots nice. It's not, you know, overly loud or a noisy gearbox, but I mean, that is what you would expect with this gun. That's what I was expecting, at least. We'll put everything back together. But yeah, that's the internal review of the JG AK47 side folding stock. Like I said, I'm pretty sure all of the JG AK47s are going to be the same internally. And I might as well mention the hop-up here. The hop-up, you know, it's a standard JG hop-up. But yeah, that's the internal review, ladies and gentlemen.